Hey guys, it's Lewis from Recycle Bicycle Sales here. This video is everything that you need to know about pedals and what you should buy. So first question is, what is a pedal? The pedal is the part that your foot is pressing on that's connected to the bike that allows you to pedal forwards. Pedals can be split into two main categories. They are flat pedals like these ones or clip-in pedals like these two. When we're looking at clip-in pedals, we can split it into two subcategories being road bike clips and mountain bike clips. In today's video, we're going to talk about the differences between all the different types and hopefully you'll learn a little bit. So we'll start with flat pedals. What are flat pedals? I guess it's kind of in the name. They're just simply a flat surface of the pedal that your foot can sit on. These are really common for people just getting into cycling or maybe even on entry-level bikes. These particular ones I've got here on my hand, I just call them Plastic Fantastics. They're 20 bucks. That's about where pedals are going to start from. And just a really straightforward, easy to use pedal. While we're on flats, you can look at these big, strong mountain bike pedals as well. These ones happen to be made of a plastic material as well, but if we look closely, they've got these little pins that stick out that'll dig into your shoe so that your foot can't move around. A lot of mountain bikers really love these. I've even seen world champions like Sam Hill running the flat pedals and Connor Fearon from Adelaide. Cool, that just came to me right now. But yes, flat pedals win medals in the mountain bike scene, especially these really grippy style of ones. Some of the pros with these flat pedals are that they inspire confidence. By that I mean, if you feel like you're gonna crash, you don't feel like you're gonna die when you're wearing these flat pedals because you can just simply take a foot off and just dab the floor nice and quickly. They're also just really simple to use. You don't have to buy these special shoes to be able to clip into it. You can just use your random running sneakers. It's worth mentioning that if you're buying these fancy mountain bike pedals with the long pins, I would recommend buying some proper mountain bike shoes. I say that because the sole on the shoe is made of like a thicker rubber material, so you're not just gonna ruin your fancy running sneakers or anything like that. However, if you're just using these Plastic Fantastics, these budget level shoes, you can run anything. You could run your sandals, you could run your thongs, you could just go barefoot if you needed to go down to the beach. Some of the cons that we can get with these flat pedals is that when you're using a flat pedal, you've got a little bit less control of the bike. It's harder to lean the pedal from one way to the other. The second thing is that they're also just a little bit less efficient. By that, I mean, all that you're able to do is use gravity and push down on the pedal throughout the pedal stroke. You're not able to pull back up as you would on one of these fancy clip-in pedals. So less efficient is probably another con that you could mention there. And the third thing I'd say is perhaps you've been sitting at a pub before and you've noticed somebody's shins and you can read your star sign, your constellation in their shins. That's a pretty clear indicator that they're probably a mountain biker that's using these flat pedals. What I'm joking around saying here is that sometimes your foot can slip off of here and the pedal will impact your shin, and I'm telling you, it hurts. It'll cut open your skin sometimes, or maybe it'll just cause an epic bruise on your shin. Point being, sometimes your foot can slip off and yes, you've got a little bit less control. If you've got any mountain biker friends and you ask them, hey, what do you think of flat pedals? I reckon the first thing they're gonna say is, ouch, my shins. I know we're kind of saying this like a joke, but I'm kind of being a little bit serious here. Like, these are pretty damn long pins, and if they were to shove their way into your shin, you know about it. So who should buy these pedals? If you're looking at these fancy mountain bike ones, I think it says it in the name, mountain bike. If you're doing jumps and skids and wheelies and ducking around trees, you're the person that's looking for these proper mountain bike pedals, if you're not already looking at clips. But these other ones here, these entry-level Plastic Fantastics, if you've just bought your first racing road bike and you want to go out onto the roads, there's so many different things you've got to learn. So having one less thing to learn, being clips, it might be a really good spot to start with some basic flat pedals as a temporary. Now let's move across to the other type of mountain bike pedal. That's these mountain bike clip-in pedals. These mountain bike clip-in pedals will give you a little bit more control over the bike because now your foot is attached to the pedal, which means that when you're pedaling, your foot's not gonna move out of place. I'll show you what one of the cleats looks like. Here on the bottom of this shoe, which is a special mountain bike cycling shoe, we've got a metal cleat here that's bolted onto the bottom. That's what's going to clip into the pedal here. That's what gives us the control over the bike. Some of the pros with these mountain bike pedals could be that they're easier to clip in and out of the pedal a little bit more than what these fancy road bike ones are. As well as that, they're easier to walk around. If you're walking through, the tiles in the kitchen or the local cafe, when you've got your foot on the floor, notice how you can't actually see the cleat. It's sort of hidden in underneath there. So you've actually still got good grip on the tiles when you're walking around. So a little bit safer. A lot of people, whether they're road bikers or mountain bikers, choose to use these mountain bike style ones purely from an easy factor. And a pro comparing it to the flat pedals is that you've got a lot more control over the bike. Some of the cons with these mountain bike pedals could be that they're a little bit heavier than these racing road bike pedals, or even sometimes the flat pedals. That's because they tend to be made of a metal rather than plastic or carbon fiber like these other types of pedals here. So they're just a little bit bigger, and I guess that also means that they're a little bit more robust and stronger. Another con could be that they're also a little bit easier to slip out of compared to these racing road bike pedals. They've got a little bit more float, as in how much your foot can move before it actually unclips. And sometimes as you're going over the mountain bike trails and jumps and skids and bumps, your foot might be able to wriggle and eventually come out. So I'm not saying your foot's just gonna fall out, but in comparison to a road bike, it is a little bit more likely. So who are these mountain bike style pedals for? I would say quite a lot of different people, whether it's mountain bikers, because the name is obviously a mountain bike pedal, or even gravel bike riders. You know, a little bike like this that maybe they're having to throw their bike over a fence so that they can get through the next paddock. Or even, I've seen a lot of road bike riders using them. Whether you're, racing or just sort of enjoying the ride, I've noticed a lot of road bikers use them because if they know that they're gonna put their foot down often, or they're gonna get to a hill that's maybe a little bit too steep, they know that they're able to walk around. For that reason, I would say lots of people will appreciate these mountain bike style of pedal. Now let's talk about the road bike clips. That's these ones here. You can see how they look kind of like a bit of a triangle sort of shape. That's what makes them look a little bit different than these mountain bike pedals. The triangular shape will fit perfectly into this cleat here. Now, this particular one happens to be yellow. They can come in a bunch of different colors. I would say 90% of people that are using these road bike ones will have yellow. The different color will talk about how much float you've got. Float is talking about how much your foot can move before it actually unclips. I won't go into this too in depth because I've done it in a previous video about transitioning from flat pedals across to clip-in pedals, but the long story short is yellow has the most float, and then you've got blue which has less, and then red which has no float. Really common for the super high-end racers. Some of the pros with these road bike pedals is that they're quite lightweight and they're super stiff. They're the best for efficiency, which tends to be what most road bike people are looking for. Efficiency, I mean, yeah, there's always comfort, but efficiency is a pretty big thing for a lot of road cyclists, and weight, obviously. And you've got lots of control over the bike because of how stiff they are. You can get some that are made of plastic on the more sort of entry side, or you can even get some that are made of carbon fiber if you've got a little bit of money to spend. Some of the cons with these road bike style of cleats is that it's quite a steep learning curve. By that, I mean, when you clip in, you have to get it perfect every time. You can't just get close and it will fall in. You kind of do have to get it perfect. Whereas the mountain bike style, you can kind of just smack your foot on it and it's probably gonna find its way to where it needs to go. Good for a mountain biker. And the other thing is that they're a little bit difficult to walk around. If you're walking through the coffee shop or maybe the tiles in the kitchen, if we see the shoe there, can you see how much the cleat is poking out down the bottom? That's plastic straight on the floor or on the tiles. So that can be quite slippery. So when you're pedaling along on your road bike, it totally makes sense because your foot's not touching the floor. But when you stop and you walk through the cafe or through the kitchen to fill up your water bottle, you just kind of have to be a little bit careful how you're walking. And the final thing that I'd say that might be a little bit of a con is that you kind of sound like a racehorse walking around, or a tap dancer or something like that. And a final dishonorable mention is these toe clips. You might remember these from when your parents were a kid or something like that. You might have seen them around the place. I reckon nowadays these are reserved for people that are riding fixed gear bikes in New York. I think toe clips are pretty cool for the right style of bike. If you're on these racing bikes, please don't put one of these on there. Either start with the flats and then you work your way across to the clip-in pedals, because toe clips just ain't it. The next thing I'm going to mention is consider your skill level. I think I've said it a couple of times throughout this video that even people that are buying these racing road bikes often start with flat pedals. It's a really common thing for me to say when somebody comes in and buys a bike, that there's so many different things that you have to learn, and it's your first time riding next to a car doing 40 kilometers an hour. There's so many things you've got to learn: gears, brakes, potholes, traffic lights, blah, 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 all these different things. Trying to learn clip and pedals can be a little bit daunting. So starting with flats is always a good, safe spot. And the final thing I'd say here is, if you're lucky enough to have friends that already have clip-in pedals, it'd be pretty cool if you could ask to borrow some. Maybe you just don't like clips. You can give it a try and you'll know pretty quickly if this definitely isn't for you, or if you reckon you might just still have some learning ahead. Given the fact that I work in a retail environment, I'm also gonna say that shoes are something that are pretty specific to you. I know that you can buy shoes online, but I think they're the sort of thing that you do actually want to try on before you buy. So I would recommend going to the local bike shop, trying on some shoes, finding what's comfortable, and you're going to enjoy riding on for the whole bike ride. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you've learned a couple of things about the different types of pedals that we've got here and the shoes that can go with them. If you reckon that you're ready to move across from flat pedals across to clip-in pedals, we've done a video further back on our YouTube channel saying exactly that, transitioning from flat to clip-in pedals. That might be a video that you're ready to start watching. Otherwise, I'm going to say thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya.